Who Am I Here? You ever seen The Stepfather? The horror movies? The franchise. It's about a stepfather who kills the families he goes to and takes on a different identity.
Oh my gosh!
But at the end of the movie, the first one, he starts calling kids the wrong name when everything's unraveling, and the wife is like, "What?" And he's like, "Who am I here?"
Oh,
I've never heard of this movie.
It's great. You know, did you watch Lost?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Jack?
No, Locke.
Oh, yeah.
He plays the stepfather.
That tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Anyways.
Special.
Okay.
Good starting points. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Brady, you're not doing a very good job over there between the tree and the
Well, hey,
You know what?
Blame the set design.
Yeah. I'm gonna blame some misrepresentation. That's
Cool. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Iconic Talk, your Winchester's number fun podcast. Here with conversations, fun, and occasional clowning. It takes center stage.
Yep.
We have Spotlight once again with us, Miss Rachel Racy.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Doing okay.
Welcome back. And
thanks.
It's exciting to be here. It's been a few weeks since we've been able to be here in the Icon Media Studios and record. And so we had Stacey Rao on last episode, announced some big news for their Ravenwood Fair.
Permanent location.
They have that location now. I was a part of a real estate deal where she was able to help secure that location at the winery. And there's all kinds of news and information. And we are here for local news.
And that is Mark Francis,
your
local realtor extraordinaire, entrepreneur, all-around great guy.
Friend of town.
Sure.
Yeah.
Longtime personal friend.
And yeah, so the local update. And before we get to local update, just what's our own version of it?
I got my Invisalign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you wearing Invisalign now?
Right now I am.
Okay. Maybe
Invisalign?
Oh, now it's noticeable if you say it like that. Or you come at me with
I'm just finishing up week 1 on Thursday.
Fangs that are coming at you. So
it's way more involved than I expected it to be.
Okay.
I thought it was just like retainer trays, but they actually there's adhesive that goes on your teeth, and they put holders on your teeth so that the trays get real nice and tight so that they can do their job.
And the teeth of the trays, yeah.
Yeah, it's
certain things.
18 weeks. I've got 18 weeks. I decided to use that 18-week marker as my way of getting through the seasonal depression, knowing that it's actually going to go faster than it feels like. So each week I'll be like, oh, another week has passed.
So the time and the darkness impacts you?
Oh, terribly.
Yeah.
Terribly. It messes with my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm ready to go. And then I'm like, Rachel, it's just weird.
Nothing happens for me at 3 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that is not a thing. Well, part of the reason why we had a little bit of an offset of schedules because I was able to break away and get out of the country for
your 50th birthday.
Oh, thank you for announcing and promoting that to the world. But yes, went to Italy. It was amazing. Loved it. And
I saw some pictures via William. He would share with me.
So pictures,
making pasta.
How many selfies can you take in front of
wine,
old buildings and old, tourist destination locations in Italy?
What a cross to bear you had over there. Just so many selfies in front of Italian structures.
So many crosses too. So much art.
I'm sure. Statues,
naked statues,
crucifixes, so and Mary and all
Erica's, that. Erica's screensaver on her phone now is this picture. I don't even know who painted it and what year it was. She was fascinated with what she calls these just baby heads on wings.
Oh, they're like little Cupids, kind
angels, but they have no bodies, and they're just like wings and feet that look like feathers with baby heads that somebody painted back in the 1400s, and they thought that was good art. So that's her screensaver now.
That's awesome.
Part of our
worth the trip.
That might be waking me up at 3 a.m, dreaming about the creepy baby heads floating in the air around like a crucifix in the middle of the painting. So, yeah, that was not the highlight of the trip, though. No, but well. Local news and updates, we're going to pass on that and go straight to our conversation with our guest because I've had him on before, beginning of the year, first episode of 2025, Brady Cloven, who is the director of Friends of Old Town, Rachel, you know him through all the many visits that he has at your
Well, and he's
restaurant.
just always walking down the walking mall, or like you'll see him out chatting with somebody in front of Willie Sutton's, or like he's always down there.
He's always there, and it's a testament to him and his passion for the job
He's
and for
so
the
involved.
town.
Yes.
Because yes, he did just move here a couple of years ago, less than 2 years ago, and he is invested
Yep.
in the town.
Yep.
He knows so many people already.
And I like him.
The networking
he's just really
that he's doing,
nice.
he's a cool guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, and so it made sense to bring him back on the show so we can give you the true local lowdown, not just the two of us dum-dums talking about what we think is happening in town.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm the one dum-dum to then have Brady sit here in the blue couch and be able to share his thoughts with us all. So here's our chat with Brady Cloven. Well, we're here with Brady Cloven, and it's exciting to have you back on Iconic Talk once again.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy that it's been almost a year since I was on here.
It has. And so we still, though, want to get to know you a little bit better, you know? So you did share your story, so we can go back and share that episode again for anybody that wants to go back and listen. But now we have video as well, so anybody who's watching on YouTube, you get a chance to see all of us here. Mm-hmm. And so just chat just a bit of what has brought you to Winchester.
Sure. Well, I got married, so that was the big reason why I came here.
Okay.
But I'm from Virginia. You know, I was kind of settled in the Northern Virginia area for a long time. And then I moved to Massachusetts for a couple years, wanted to get out, do some different things, see some different cities. And I was working up there and having a good time. I did some government affairs work. I did a lot of nonprofit work. And then I started talking to somebody who has lived here in Winchester for 15 years now. And was like, "Ooh, I don't know about that one. I don't know about Winchester," because for me, Winchester was very different, 25 years ago.
Almost too small of a town?
I wouldn't say too small. I just don't know that for me, it had a lot of things that I thought were going to line up with like my career goals, what I wanted to do. I really wanted a community that you felt invested in and that, I love to volunteer. So when I moved up north, like I quickly found different committees and stuff to volunteer on. And my experience with Winchester when I was a kid was, the walking mall wasn't what it is now.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And you had Apple Blossom Mall, and you came out here if it was on your way to hike, or you came out here to go to the MSV, or if,
even that wasn't really here,
right?
25 years ago.
Not very modern of a town.
Yeah,
not a progressive town.
So I was a little worried, but I came down to visit who's my now wife, and I fell in love with Winchester. Like it was exactly the city that you want to see, where there's a lot of cool things happening. And I know this word gets overused, but there's a lot of potential for things to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think you just have to be able to have vision and see that. So I moved down. I did the back and forth thing for a while with my old job. And then this job for the executive director position popped up. It was a brand new first one. The program, Main Street, has been here for 40 years, but it's always been through the city. And now it's a nonprofit. And I couldn't pass that up. I think I like challenges. My therapist loves when I go in and be like, "Hey, I picked up this new project." And she's like, "Why?"
Calling Winchester a challenge. Yes.
I would say the job is a challenge. I think that when you're dealing with a lot of different personalities, whether that's partners in the city, the restaurants and merchants downtown, or you're dealing with tourism, you're also dealing with people who have been here for generations, or people who are just coming in here. So there's a lot of different viewpoints, and challenges don't have to be bad. I just figure you have to think about them strategically sometimes.
So what year did you move to town then?
What year are we in? 2025?
Yeah.
2024. Early 2024.
Oh, so you're brand new.
Yeah. Yeah, brand new.
So explain that difference of Main Street versus Friends of Old Town.
Sure. So Main Street, Friends of Old Town is the Main Street program. But Virginia Main Street is part of Main Street America, which is a nationally accredited program. There's about 34 states, I believe, that operate it. And each one comes out of a different city arm or state arm. So Virginia's comes out of the Department of Housing and Community Development. And we have many throughout the state. So Culpeper has one, Manassas has one, Harrisonburg has one, so on and so forth. Winchester's is actually the oldest one. It was started in 1984, the first one in Virginia. But it got grandfathered in over the years because the city would run it through the EDA, general services. A lot of the maintenance on the mall went through Main Street. You had an Old Town Development Board. You had all these different versions of merchant-led things or city-run things, and it kept kind of running into these walls One is because when you're tied to a specific budget that gets turned over every time an election happens, you can't really always get things done. So Main Street America came to town in 2021, did a whole workshop and said, you know what, the reason you keep hitting these walls is because you're not fully using your resources. You're not leaning into the fundraising arm of it, because when you're run by the city, you can't fundraise. You can't get sponsorships. As a nonprofit, you can.
Interesting. So that's a big distinction there.
Yep. So, there's always going to be some sort of collaboration between a city and its Main Street program. But the goal is to not be 100% sufficient on them for your funding, for your programs. There's a true partnership there. But now that we're a nonprofit, we can actually raise the funds for that. We can reach out to partners. We can get sponsorships. It's just a different way to do it, I guess. And I don't think that anything the city did before was wrong. It just wasn't the right fit for what the program should be. And now we can actually do something that goes out to the community and says, what do you all want? Not just what I want, what my board wants, but what's going to help the merchants down here, what's going to help the people who live around here. And
it's such a benefit to be able to help. I mean, ultimately that's one of the bigger goals, right? To help the small businesses, to help the people who are running the town, here downtown, and be able to see the shops and the stores thrive and the restaurants thrive, and to be able to see the community active.
Because as a server, I mean, so many people come here now from out of town to visit. It's working. Like whatever you guys are doing is working.
Some days it's hanging 300 pumpkins in trees along the mall.
I was so happy to see that.
But it's just small things like that that people are noticing.
Yeah, and I think we have really good partners with the EDA, or Economic Development Authority, with tourism, and they're people who do love Winchester, right? But their views have to be so much broader, like with these neighborhood design districts that are happening, or, Winchester tourism isn't just the city, it's also Frederick County. Here we can actually be focused on Old Town proper and all work together, but we have such I don't want to say small view, but a much more strategic, kind of streamlined view of how we're helping. And let's be honest, I mean, I don't think it's ruffling any feathers to say that Old Town Winchester is the heart of Winchester.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And
you have to say that.
Our goal is to keep that vibrant, and that can look like many different things, but at least having a vision, a set 20-year plan, which we have, to say, hey, here's everything the community said they wanted us to focus on, that we whittled down and prioritized into, near term, midterm, long term. And we'll always keep looking at that to make sure we're on track, but at least it gives us all an idea of
that
what
means we've got you for a solid 20 years.
Maybe.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think Winchester has me for 20 years.
So you have to do a good job, but not such a good job that other towns are trying to
yourselves out of a job.
Actually, I did get approached by another town, and I said, thanks, but no thanks. I'm
married.
I'm married
to Winchester.
I think nonprofit work is hard. I mean, it feels like at this day and age, every job is hard. But, nonprofit, especially community building, community programs like this, are hard because you hear a lot more no's than yes. But you have to be able to pivot and understand that there's a lot of smaller yeses built into no's, right? And I think that's just where we are. And, there is a shelf life on Main Street managers, I think, but I think it also matters how invested you are in where you are. Like, I live here now. Like, why wouldn't I want to see this place succeed?
Yeah. So where has the job met your expectations, and where has the job been different than you thought?
That's a good question. I would say that I do a lot more on the I lean hard into economic development and tourism. So I think a lot of people thought when we first started, like, oh, well, you're just the one who does events. And we do. Like, events are part of bringing people to downtown. But I think, like we discussed last time, you can bring people to the mall, and then you can also do things that push them into stores.
Yep.
And right now, I think Virginia is kind of getting punched in the mouth economically. Like, we're getting hit pretty hard with the turmoil that the nation is in, but I just think our proximity and location, anyways. So I have had to pivot a lot to be like, okay, well, how do we actually try to look into grants and programs for the businesses here? Like, it's great to put on events, but what happens if businesses are closing and then the events are down here for what? All the things we do are to benefit the downtown community. And that's kind of the scope of what I do. Look at everything through. I would say where it's met expectations. It's met every expectation. I think it surprised me in ways that it's made me flex different muscles, and kind of work on collaboration a lot, and how do you bridge gaps between people who are either set in their ways or have tried things before and are used to running up against walls. So they go, well, I've already done this. Why would I try it? And it's trying to convince people to try things a different way. So.
What are some of the things that have happened over the last year since you were here? Woo. Just walk us through kind of where you thought there were some big successes, whether it be events or the things that were going on since this past year started.
I would definitely say the events have gained a lot of momentum. I think that you could see a clear difference in how we run events versus how they were run before.
So the same event, but just done differently. Yeah. So let's pick one like the Celtic Festival.
Yeah, I think Celtic Fest was leaning into partnerships with Ravenwood, also getting some music in different locations. So you're taking kind of the framework that has already been established and just bringing a different set of eyes to it. So I have a board member who runs the events or helps me, who also runs events at the Museum of Shenandoah Valley. He also ran Brightbox for 10 years. Josh Huff. Yeah. So we're both very plugged in into music performances, the scene, and trying to bring different things. I think that just giving people a different taste of style and music brings these people out. And Winchester is seeing an influx of younger families, right? Who are moving out here. Yeah. So I think our programming has reflected that.
Family events that for small kids, for parents to do things with their kids and run around and have a good time.
So all the feedback we've gotten has been tremendous. I think the foot traffic on First Fridays, we can use that as an example, also went up. The marketing that we've invested into it has not been seen here before with that. We also applied for and received a downtown improvement grant of $75,000, which is from the state that goes to the Taylor Pavilion. So we're revitalizing that stage. It's going to be a permanent stage extension, the canopy. It's going to be lighting. It's
awesome.
Let's talk more about that. I've mentioned it a few different times on previous episodes as the news is being released.
It's so cool.
I want to hear.
That is so great. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah.
So walk us through kind of what the timing of that's going to look like. When are they going to start doing things, and what's the ultimate end goal of when you can start using the Taylor Pavilion?
Yeah, so obviously we have a lot of events that happen in Old Town.
Yeah.
So we were trying to target a specific time frame that happened from when First Fridays ends in October and get it done before Apple Blossom.
Okay.
So RFPs have been sent out. We have about 2 weeks left to hear from the different construction companies that were getting to bid on it. $75,000 is incredible, but it also goes pretty quickly.
Sure.
And this is stage one of a two-phase project.
Right.
So this one will take about a year. Then that'll be the stage extension coming out permanently, so we don't have to use that wobbly one anymore. It'll be a pavilion canopy that matches the current one there over top of the stage.
Okay.
We're going to get some string lighting through there. There will be a public art component that we're still trying to work out if that's going to go on the wall directly behind the stage, or if that's going to go more so on the wine room stucco and do maybe some panel art over there. I think it could be cool to do something like, creative interpretations of Patsy Cline's albums, because that is the performance spot. The goal with it is to make it, if this is going to be the place that we're doing most of our events anyways, let's make it a spot that's fun, family friendly. It's exciting. Like, it looks really cool now if you have the vision for it.
Yeah.
But I think the renderings show exactly what it can be from that space. And then phase two, we're hoping to kick off next summer, fall, around the same time as we are now. And that's more aesthetically boosting it up. So after we get the infrastructure there, doing things with more lighting, maybe some furniture, some lawn games.
Okay.
Bocce ball has been thrown around.
Yeah, sure.
But just making it, like I said, that gathering space too.
So that'd be like a permanent sound and lighting system that will be there as well?
We're looking into that too. So we created a kind of a subcommittee task force, and it's some board members. So Kyle Hopkins is my lead board member on that, and he's an architect, a local architect. But we also pulled in people from Shenandoah University who do sound and production design there. We pulled in a couple local bands. Josh Huff is on that too, because you can kind of give that performance aspect of it. So there's a lot of people who, if we're talking about even just reaching out to smaller bands or Shenandoah bands, they don't always have the ability to lug equipment down here, if they even have the equipment, right? So if you have some sort of sound system built into the pavilion itself, it makes it so much easier. And we can be more inclusive and accessible to these great bands coming up. Do you remember, you guys were all here for Rally in the Alley, right?
No.
Well, that, from what I hear, is something that really tried to showcase these smaller, up-and-coming local bands. And I think that's what we can do with the Taylor Pavilion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously having something more permanent like that just will make a more of a draw and appeal to come downtown.
Yeah.
And for businesses to rally around that.
Yeah.
Just like any other event that you're doing. So that's the beauty of what you're saying, that these events are not the end of themselves to say this is why we're doing something, is to have a Celtic festival and to have a drinking party, but it's to bring people to town, exposure to town, for people to have a reason to come to Winchester if they haven't heard of it before.
Yeah. Know? And then, I mean, even like take this season, for example, we don't have First Fridays anymore because the weather gets a little fickle, but we're heading into Small Business Weekend. So instead of Black Friday, we'll have Plaid Friday, we'll have Small Business Saturday, and then kind of a Sunday is a catch-all, but like a Sunday stroll day.
Cool.
And it's called Windependent Weekend here. But each day we're going to have a lot of merch to hand out. We're partnering with American Express. We also have a couple other sponsors locally. We're going to make a holiday shopping guide so that while you're here for Plaid Friday, you get a guide of where to go. You come back the following weekend for Windsor Village. And then after Windsor Village, we have Santa's Express and Cookie Crawl. Excuse me. So we're trying to make it like something every weekend through the holidays to get people in and out of stores. And then return customers. And like you said, if you have these things that show them Winchester is this really cool place where you have history, you have public art, you have really good food, you have great shops, like why wouldn't you want to come back?
Yep.
And something to be excited about as a city just resident, to say, hey, you can bring somebody from out of town, just come hang out at my house for the week or for the weekend, and walk downtown and go do something fun like that. It's great.
Well, I have a friend, lifelong friend at this point, but he and his girlfriend lived in New York, and they're coming down actually this weekend, and they're staying at an Airbnb above Murphy's. And I was like, yeah, isn't that so cool? Like you're on the mall. You can just walk around and do whatever you want.
That's cool. Well, talking about families, there is something sad that did happen a couple weeks ago. And so we're talking about like how families and how their kids just run around and do things. And there is just a tragic accident that did happen. And so just wanted to get your take on that and what you've heard from the city as responses to that death. And are there going to be changes because of that?
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, I think all of our hearts go out to Lily's family and the young girl who was killed.
Terrible.
And then, I don't want to continue to say everybody's names, but even, the driver and his family, like, I think when you look at what happened, it is a freak accident of timing. And you can have arguments that, well, this could have happened anytime. It hasn't happened yet. There's both sides of that argument. We're going into it, first off, hearing everybody out, talking to all the merchants, saying, hey, how do you feel about this? Checking in. Like the day it happened, I came down here and checked in with some people because I was like, obviously you all were here and saw it.
Awful.
And then it was kind of getting into the work after saying, all right, well, the city's going to present some options. So they immediately shut it down, put the emergency barriers up, and said, okay, from here, now that we know nobody can get through here, let's actually think about this strategically and what's going to be the best solution.
Like long-term.
Long-term. Yeah. So there's options on the table to permanently close it down. And when the city says permanently, that means like no cars allowed on Boscawen at any time.
No deliveries, no nothing.
Then there's the option to keep it how Loudon Street Mall is right now, where you have deliveries up until about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then some sort of bollard system will go in. And then you have an option where I believe it was just to close it on weekends and special events. City Council met last week, had a special work session that I was a part of. And kudos to them and the interim city manager, John Piper. I mean, first day on the job, he had to take this by the reins, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that he is the right person for this moment, But they were able to keep the emergency closure in place for now and then want to vet which options are best. So it sounds like it's going to come down between permanent closure or the partial closure like we have on the
Yeah,
mall already.
that makes sense. What did you get the results of the survey back from downtown merchants yet?
Yeah. And I don't have the numbers on me, but the majority of the merchants surveyed said that they want a permanent closure.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's somewhere between like 61% went for that option, and then 26% went for the second option of keeping it closed after 11 o'clock.
There were conversations in the works before this even happened of just the idea of what would that look like? How would the town be impacted by closing it? Is that the right and wrong decision?
Right.
Now,
I mean,
really
it was
going down that path.
2019, I think, when this came up last time. And I mean, it's pre-COVID, so obviously that kind of threw a wrench in some things. But the same thing happened then without an accident.
It came up when I got hit.
So you got to share a story, right?
You got hit too?
I did. In 2014, I was jogging, and I was heading south right in front of El Centro, and it was early in the morning, 8:15, 8:30, and a gentleman was coming through, and I thought he saw me. The gap between the big pillar and the corner of El Centro, I saw him. He stopped at the stop sign, and I kept running because as a pedestrian, I had the right of way. And he drove through, and we collided right in the middle there. And I tried to run around the front of the car real quick, and it was just like, it was awful.
That's scary.
And I got taken to the hospital in an ambulance. They cut my sleeve. I was fine.
Yeah.
But I remember at that point, I think I either wrote a letter or I don't remember what I did now, asking them to take those pillars down because they don't do anything but block sight lines for cars and people both. And there at the time there was an article that came out a few weeks later, I don't remember how long later, about only one pedestrian's ever been struck. My boss was like, Rachel, you made the paper. I'm like,
you're famous.
That's not
like
good.
They had to correct the article
press.
because of my accident, because they originally said no one's ever been, and then they had to go back and do a rewrite.
I mean,
Caleb's like, this is amazing. You made it in. But I remember thinking then, those pillars have not ever, they're terrible.
Yep.
And I mean, I feel like, yes, accidents happen, things happen, but because there's been such a buzz for so long, for them to either close that down when it's not just a crosswalk, it is a pedestrian thoroughfare where you've got people coming through all the time. And on a busy Saturday afternoon in October, this one I feel like could have been prevented.
Well, I think it's also, that's completely valid because it's a pedestrian mall.
Right.
And so on half of it,
no one is driving.
You have a completely safe place where your kids can kind of run in loops and do what kids do.
Yep.
And then it becomes unsafe
all of a sudden
really quickly.
And as a 3-year-old, you wouldn't know that.
Right. Because all you're thinking, as a 30-something-year-old, you don't think that either sometimes. Where you're just like, I'm moseying along, and then, there's a car through here.
You hate Monday morning quarterbacking, but there's road signs that say stop, and there's very limited signage, if any, for the pedestrians.
Yep.
Right? So it certainly is something to seriously be considering. I'm glad that you're a part of that and are able to navigate that of how that's going to impact the town and the businesses. And ultimately, we'll grow from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going back to not to cut you off, but going back to the master plan that I was talking about, like one of those mid to long-term suggested projects was actually to close down Boscawen because the consultants, and even when I came in here, I couldn't understand why it was open. And then people explained, well, it's always been this way, which is a common thing that you hear in Winchester, but also for deliveries. And I was like, okay, well, the delivery portion makes sense to me. But I was like, well, why don't we close it on weekends? Like we have a lot of people that are here on this mall on the weekends. I mean, I would even argue that Thursday through Sunday is packed.
Sure.
But so we submitted a couple of renderings being like, maybe you close it down starting Friday night and it goes through Sunday night. And then people can come out and have their own patios, like Broken Window Cans,
Sexy Mexi, the pizza place. Right. It would benefit a lot of those little restaurants right there.
And they were like, not that the city didn't like that idea, but they were like, that's a great option, but that's going to cost money. Obviously, like we're going to have to survey people. And again, we came up with this master plan a year ago. So it's not this thing that's been laying around, but now that accelerates and moves it up to more of a near-term plan, right? So we kind of already have this framework to say, well, here are some options, but taking it further around Old Town too, like I live off the south end of the mall. So I cross Cork Street every day and the Discovery Museum is down there. That brings in, thousands of tens of thousands of kids each year. and they have a slightly raised crosswalk with some flashing lights. It's like we kind of need to rethink that too, and then rethink Indian Alley, rethink all the crosswalks. I also work on Amherst, so I cross Braddock Street. I almost got hit there the other day because somebody was on their phone and just didn't pay attention, and I was clearly in the right. But it's a crosswalk that just has different colors on it. You know, like we could do more. And I'm hopeful because the city sounds like they have a lot of really good ideas and are being open to a lot of feedback about
and
how
in
to move
people's
forward.
defense, like, you know, like when you do the same commute every day and you're walking the same streets or you're driving, like you just mentally, everybody checks out. Like, you know, we've all driven home and realized we don't remember driving home. You know, like there's also that human nature element to any of these situations where you're just looking down at your phone or you're not paying attention because you cross that same part of the street every single day and there's nobody ever there, and then all of a sudden there's a car there, you know. There's that.
And not to sound, I really hope this doesn't sound cruel about it because, you know, it's a loss of life. But I think as a board and organization, we were talking about, you know, not to be just extremely reactionary. Like, yes, close it down right now, have an emergency closure, but really have to understand what the long-term effects of closing it down are going to be. And that doesn't mean don't close it down, but be able to offer the businesses on Boscawen assurances that they're not going to have to completely change their way of business. I mean, one counselor the other night at the work session also mentioned, like, how do you tell a business, like, you're just out of luck for picking this location now? So making sure that the solution that does happen has that built in. And that's kind of our job, too, with Friends of Old Town, is to get that feedback from the merchants and say, hey, you know, I know that, you know, Bluebells, you're in a position where you have deliveries right up at the curb and you're right there. Now that's going to go away. So what is the solution that we're going to be able to give you? And I think that's a hard conversation to have, but you can't be reactionary in it. You have to figure out what's going to work and be sustainable.
But it's an appropriate conversation. I mean, that's setting us up for success down the road and not just reactionary and then thinking backwards, oh, we never should have made that decision. So that's helpful. Well, moving on to happier things. You painted a picture of this coming winter just a bit, you know, with the Christmas season and things like that. So touch on even some of the bigger picture things that you guys are working on at Friends of Old Town, behind the scenes things that, do you have any news that you can pass on that Winchester Star doesn't know? Any breaking updates? Any things that you want to pass on? But just paint, even beyond that, I'm just joking, but paint a picture of kind of like what are the bigger things brewing for the city? Yeah,
I think going into 2026, we're thinking, isn't that, I was like, where are we right now? I think we're trying to really pivot to focus on the economic vitality arm. So last time I gave the committees, but I'll give them again. So we have 4 committees that inform all the work and projects we do. One is organization, which is like fundraising, budget. Nobody wants to do that one, so it's usually me. Second one is design committee, which is more so your public art, the Taylor Pavilion project, facade improvements. 3 is promotions, and that's your events, your social media, kind of figuring out this, what is the identity of Old Town Winchester currently and how to attract different businesses, but also retain the ones that are currently here. And then we have economic vitality, which actually you're part of.
Correct.
And that is dealing more so with the businesses here currently, what's going to help them, new business welcoming packets. Given the state of the world, we've realized, and most main streets in Virginia that I've talked to have also had to pivot real fast. To be like, okay, well, now how do we work on micro grant programs? How do we work on giving these businesses the tools to properly market themselves, not just as a business, but as a business on a walking mall where you're kind of tied to the identity of that. So the big work we have ahead of us next year is working with EDA, working with tourism and the city to make sure that Old Town stays thriving. And make sure that businesses feel like they're properly supported here with resources. And that does mean that I have to go in and you know, run a business or flip burgers or something, which I'm happy to do. But, you know, just being able to be that voice for them and say, okay, well, if you guys don't have time to make a video and market yourselves, let us do it. Let us come in there and film a day in the life at Roma, a day in the life at Espresso Bar. And then...
You didn't want today.
You sure? So I think that's a big thing for next year. Obviously, the Taylor Pavilion is going to take up a lot of our winter. And then having a year of events under our belts to understand what works, what doesn't work, some things we can tweak, I feel pretty confident that next year we're going to have some really fun extra events. Like, for instance, actually nobody knows this one, so here you go.
All right.
Winchester on the Rocks was a thing a couple years ago.
Yes.
It's a cocktail competition.
Roma and Kelly and Cheyenne won a couple years in a row.
We're bringing that back.
All right.
Nice.
So we're bringing Old Town on the Rocks.
Nice.
So we're going to keep it to Old Town the first year just to see how it runs.
Yep.
But we know that, after Christmas, January, February, and most of March are dead.
The bucket of suck.
Yep.
Sure.
And so how do you do
Is that the official term
it's
for it?
actually
100%.
That's what it's called. Yeah, a bucket of suck. But you have to do some fun, creative things to get people into the story, right? And so I think that's one we're bringing back in January. Obviously, Chocolate Escape happens in February. So this year, I was able to run Chocolate Escape. And so I understand some things that really work well for it and some things that really need some help on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to have balloons stay afloat in 30 degrees is not always fun. And so it looks great the first hour. And then like by hour 3, when they're all deflated and look like bags of spit, just like sitting on the floor, it's not great. So maybe we'll go to Bose this year. And then, really kind of leaning into the partnerships that we've made this year to have these, when we do these community meetings every month, having different topics come up where it's like, okay, well, how do we connect you and you? How do we connect this person with this person? I think that, not to toot your horn for you, but we have a really great ecosystem of realtors here.
Yep.
People who are very good at bringing people to Winchester and showcasing what it is. So we're trying to lean more into that arm and be like, how do we help you? So,
well, the ones that I know, we all care about town.
Right.
We care about making it thrive and grow and prosper, and part of that is just our industry, our business of being a realtor, but it's also the heartbeat of what we share with clients as they're coming to town, and we're their go-to. We're their go-to to answer all the questions.
You're the first person they talk to.
They trust you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a good starting point is getting some of those key people who are the voice of town to attract the people who are moving in who don't really know or aren't exposed to Winchester. I say this all the time because as I work with clients who are moving into town for either a job or something like that, I make sure I give them a tour of town as well. So they're exposed to not just the neighborhoods, but where all the key highlights are. Because sometimes it's sad, but like if a spouse comes into town for his or her job, the other spouse is like, where's my life now?
Yeah.
And how do I get plugged in? And I've seen success stories and not success stories of how those have worked out. And so it's like, I feel passionate about that component of what I do as a realtor. It's less about just helping people buy and sell a house. It's about their lifestyle and then adding to the town to grow. So there's a lot of us that can contribute to those things. So
it actually reminds me that I owe you an email. I haven't been avoiding you.
That's okay. We can talk about it offline because there are things to come.
That just light bulb went off.
Excellent.
I was like,
yes,
that's right.
Yes, there's more things to come about events that we'll
awkward.
be putting on.
I was like, ooh, is he calling me out right now?
No, it's exciting. But no, there will be things down the road that I want to help. Just promote local businesses and how they can market and brand because of what Icon Media does and what Icon Real Estate does. There's things that can be learned around town to help small businesses thrive, because the last thing we want is for businesses to shut down.
Yeah.
Right.
And so how can we all support one another through that? And you're talking about, doing videos for Espresso Bar, Aromas. We need to get more things out there to help businesses who either A, don't know how to market themselves, or B, don't have the funds and the means to do it and do it well.
Yeah.
And that's my heartbeat and passion. That's where I think we can all collaborate together to do that. So
yeah, and I think that it's the job of Main Street program to help understand what that identity is. So, Harrisonburg I like to use as an example for this, not that I think that we should become a Harrisonburg and that it wouldn't work anyways, but they rebranded as a food destination. And that has helped them recruit different industries that can come alongside that and say, oh, if this is full of food places, I can bring my other type of business here, right? Or I can bring maybe a bed and breakfast here, and it would go along with it. But it also helps the people who are already here or already there as restaurants feel like they're supported, because that's what's being messaged out with tourism and the state and the locality.
Do you think Winchester needs to be rebranded?
No.
And if so, like, what is the brand?
I don't think it needs a rebrand. I think that it just needs, Old Town specifically needs a strong voice behind its identity.
Yeah.
So we have, I said it earlier, we have history, we have public arts, we have food, we have some sports nearby. But I think we should take a hard look at what brings people to Old Town. And I think from everything I've heard over the past year, what brings people to Old Town these days is food. Like, we are a food destination. I don't know that we're a foodie town yet.
We are not a foodie town.
But I think that we have all the tools here. If you look up the makeup of businesses, there's about 216 in Old Town proper right now. 34, give or take one or two, are food and beverage. About 27, 28 are your retailers, and the rest are your services.
Yeah.
So your barbershops, your hair salons, your nail salons, your real estate agents, your lawyers. But I think when you kind of whittle it down, people come here for a restaurant. I ask people all the time, what do you come to Winchester for? Oh, I go downtown to eat at Roma or V2, and then I'll go to Tin Top, and maybe I'll catch a show at Bright Box, but I'm coming down here to eat. Or my family came into town, so we went to Paladin, or I'm going to get pastries that need bread. Like, it's all food related because we have so many good things here.
It's interesting that you're saying that, though, because I would think history, because that's the first thing you do say.
It depends on who you run into. I mean, so many people are drawn here for so many different reasons. Patsy Cline, there's so much Civil War battlefields. There's so many, you just get there's reenactments everywhere. You've got people that come in because of the John Hanley Library is its own freaking mecca. I mean, it's beautiful.
But if you're coming from like Northern Virginia,
or to go see a show at Shenandoah, or
I guess if you're coming from Northern Virginia, you're probably not going to think food first, but you could be and should be. I mean, I love Sabai Thai. I'll just say that. I mean, and I've had people from Northern Virginia come here and say this is the best Thai food they've had.
It's so good.
So how do you share that with the world? How do you tell people that there are good food?
Who would have known that there was great sushi in Old Town Winchester?
Right.
And then there's a Wabi.
Right.
Who I also heard that will be having some of their Korean street food on menu
nice.
soon.
Okay.
So to reframe this a little bit too, when I talk about identity, again, my scope is just Old Town. So Patsy Cline House is not in Old Town.
I guess not.
Right. The MSV is not in Old Town.
Yeah.
Most of the battlefields are not here.
Yeah.
Now, we do have the Shenandoah Valley Civil War Museum, which is a great asset here, and we can lead into that. But I think people come to Winchester, Frederick County for history, but your Old Town, the heart of it, is going to be where you stay for a weekend to go to a show and kind of bebop around.
Yeah, it's the central hub to go look at battlefields somewhere, go to Harper's Ferry. I mean, I wait on people all the time that are staying downtown, and they've got all these little day trip excursions planned. And And
I think if you have a really strong push behind being the hub, that is a food-centric hub that appeals. I mean, food appeals to everybody, right?
Sure. Well, you guys have a website.
Yep.
And so just pitch that a bit. And if people want to get either connected or have ideas or share thoughts, how do they reach out?
There's a lot of ways. So obviously the website, friendsofoldtown.org, and that'll have a list of the committees. It'll have a list of board members and their affiliation, but also their ties to Winchester. It has opportunities for you to become a friend of Old Town by joining one of those committees. Donating, of course, always helps, because most of these projects and events that we do undertake are not free, and we want them to be as great as possible. But then there's also things on there like a full directory of the businesses in Old Town that we're constantly updating. Outside of that, Facebook is probably the best place to find any updates. We try to post, what's happening this weekend, or if somebody has an event that's not even ours that's in Old Town, we'll share that out. Like Watts has their Cheese In for the Reason fundraiser coming up this weekend. And even though we're not running that, like, we want to share that that's happening in Old Town. All boats rise is our mentality with that. And then Instagram is Friends of Old Town Wink, WINC. And then we have monthly community meetings. They're the third Wednesday of each month at Winchester Brewworks from 3 to 4 p.m. right before they open. You can have anywhere from 20 to 40, 45 people there. So it's harder to find a spot that isn't going to affect somebody's business negatively in their hours. So Holly has been really gracious with letting us have that
it's been
spot.
great.
So really, there's any way to get involved.
And frankly, if you just want to run into Brady, you just come into Roma because
at lunch?
every day I see you out on the walking mall somewhere or in Roma, sometimes more than once.
It's supporting small business. I mean, that's what I say when my wife was like, "Why do we have this bill?" I'm like, "Well, it's part of my job."
You know, she said he's willing to flip burgers. He didn't say he's willing to serve pizzas.
Your
he wants to go
mother-in-law,
there and get served.
I've been waiting on her for years.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite nights ever was a night that she was at Roma. It was probably 8, 9, 10 years ago now. And this gentleman had come in. He was under the influence, in terrible shape. Somebody bought him a pizza. Your mom was, I think she was sitting at, I remember where your mother-in-law, where she was sitting. And then somebody paid for him to get a cab. It was cold. And I was the one who volunteered to walk him down to Boscawen, to where they were going to pick him up in front of Water Street. I think he might have been in a wheelchair. He was in a wheelchair. And the whole way down from Roma to the Boscawen Street, he just kept saying, "You're so beautiful. You look just like Monica from Friends. You're so beautiful. You look, has anybody ever told you the whole way down, you look like Monica from Friends. You look like Monica from Friends." And finally we get to the very end. He goes, "What's your actual name?" I just went, "Rachel."
Oh.
The other one.
It was so funny, but I remember your mother-in-law was like, "That was the coolest thing that you walked him." Like, well, of course. He needed help, but...
Yeah, I mean, Donna's great too. I mean, what was it, a couple weeks ago?
And she swims like every morning, right?
Every morning. She's a little firecracker too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she is like a 5'1", full
lean.
of just lean machine, but full of just humor.
Yeah, she's great.
You don't want to cross her, though.
Really enjoyed
me.
getting to know her over the years, and it all started that night. My name's Rachel.
Good for you.
So fun.
I love it. Well, Brady, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
This is great. I
mean, I love the setup now.
Every now and then we want to get you on here because
it didn't look anything like
news.
this when you were here last.
No,
it was over. Everybody was over in the table there.
Yeah. We talked about me being called Fairfax Flunky.
Yeah.
And a woke dreamboat, which I still cling to.
You should.
Fairfax Flunky.
So when I first got hired, the Winchester Star, not anything malicious, just put out the article that was like, "Here's the new director of this new Main Street program." But the background really leaned into that I was not from here. And
Interesting.
As you can imagine, some of the online comments and like those "What's Happening Winchester" groups were a little worried, I guess I put it. So somebody said I was part of Big HOA, which I didn't realize I was a Big HOA. Somebody said I was a Fairfax flunky.
Interesting.
And then somebody was trying to be pretty facetious and was just like, "Oh, well, we don't need another woke dreamboat here." And I was like, you know what? That one's not that bad. Like, I'll take that one. So I actually have it framed in my office.
Well, we're here to change the narrative, but keep the ones you want. Okay, let's keep the good and the ones that you like, and throw out the bad ones.
But I'm happy to come back anytime. Awesome. I think this is great what you all are doing. I think we have so many great people and voices here, and we just need to have more ways like this that could lift them up and showcase them.
Yep, because we care about town, we care about the businesses, and we want to see it grow and thrive, and I know you do too.
And we're the number fun podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So keep coming back. Thanks, Brady. Appreciate it. Well, that was fun.
He's a great guy.
That was your guest this time.
Yes.
So well done.
Thank you.
In getting Brady
I'm getting
back.
better.
You're doing great.
I am. I'm getting better at this.
You're getting better at being a host and conversations.
I am.
And now getting guests.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
High five to that.
Thank you.
Well, what did you learn? Was there anything that stood out? Nothing? You knew it all? Yeah.
No, not even just that. He's a lot busier. He's got a lot more on his plate than I think I anticipated.
Yeah, that's where I was.
He's like all over the place.
I mean, just him rattling off. I'm like, okay,
so much responsibility.
Yeah, like what did you expect and what did you not expect?
Yeah,
and like that answer, I was like, okay, yeah, he expects to be busy.
Yeah,
you know, that didn't surprise him.
Yeah, and he was leaving to go to another meeting at 6.
Yeah, of course. There's always meetings with all the different subcommittees that there are.
When you've got people that own businesses that can't do anything until after business hours anyway.
Sure.
So his day just never ends.
Yeah, but he's a fan of
Winchester. He's doing a great job.
It's a good thing.
Yep.
So keep it up, but go to the website to be able to get some details. I'm on that website right now, by the way, and we'll rattle off some of those events that are coming up this coming weekend. Cheesin' for a Reason. a grilled cheese and tomato soup extravaganza on the Winchester Walking Mall.
To support, what is it, Watts?
That is Watts, right? Yeah.
The Winchester area temporary thermal shelter for the homeless.
He briefly mentioned that, but that's coming up this weekend. So there are tickets, and there's all kinds of food tastings and things like that. There's a 50-50 raffle. There's a scavenger hunt.
Where is that being held?
It says downtown. It says you can check in at Rouse Avenue, 15 North Cameron Street, and then I think you're walking around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's happening this Saturday. There is a cost, but it goes on from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. We'll put a link up there for that. And then I'm just excited about what the Thanksgiving holiday season looks like. And we'll have an episode before this, but just to lead into it, of like typically people think of Black Friday.
Yeah.
And here, what is it called? Plaid
Friday downtown.
Friday is what he has shared.
Small business Saturday.
Yep. And then just cruising around town for Sunday, right? Just a stroll. I think stroll on Sundays.
And then the next weekend is
the parade.
The Winter Village.
Yeah. And the parade,
and the parade is Monday.
Yep. So just so many things. It's already here, right? Like, so once it's even before Halloween, the big box stores have their Christmas gear up.
Oh yeah. It's like August
people
anymore.
Are doing it. I heard a stat, and just sidebar, that people on average here for the United States will spend over $1,500 per person for Christmas gifts.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
No.
Like that is not us. If there's an average around there, that is not us, but like that is the national average according to surveys and studies. Unbelievable. So people be spending their money. So
I wouldn't mind if someone spent $1,500 on me, though.
That'd be fun.
Like looking at that from the other end.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all right.
No, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, but so come downtown and spend your $1,500 a person to the stores and restaurants down here. Right?
Leave a $1,500 tip would be great.
Tip. What is your biggest
little retirement tip?
Any?
I had a lady come in a couple of summers ago.
Uh-huh.
She had one kid in a pack on her front, one kid in a pack on her back, and like 6 kids in tow.
Okay.
And she had come in, a bird had pooped on one of her kids' heads. And she was like,
I didn't know we'd get this kind of story.
Yeah. And I was like, I've got wet wipes. She goes, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm like, yeah, I'm a mom. I said, she walked in. I said, what can I do to help you?
Uh-huh.
What do you need? Tell me what to do to help you. She got all these 8 kids shoved in the booth. She ordered 1 large cheese pizza, extra small slices, and 8 waters, 6 kids waters, 7 kids waters. They demolished that large cheese pizza.
Yeah.
Her tab would have been $18,
sure.
$19. She left me $100.
Yay.
I'll never forget that. And she was just like the nicest lady. They were just they had just left the museum. They were just, $100 on an $18 tab.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, see, come downtown, leave some tips, buy some things, do it on the Winchester Plaid Friday. So love it. Well, thanks so much for watching and listening to this week's episode. I hope you guys did learn something as well. Remember to find us on social media. Obviously, we're on YouTube for videos now. So like it, share it, give us a review, post it to your friends, ask questions.
If you want to be on here, give us a shout.
Let us know, because you never know. You guys, you could be the next person. If you connect with one of us, just reach out to us.
Chances are we're going to have you on the show.
I'm not going to reveal the people who have been contacting me, but I've got at least 3 or 4 people who are saying they want to come on.
Nice.
So we will be promoting those people in those episodes coming up soon. So thank you so much for watching and listening.
Thank you.
And until next time, think iconic.